Rising, everyone. Welcome to another class. Thank you guys so much for coming. I'm hoping that you all got your rest and you all were able to get up and have your fruits and you hydrated and you're getting ready for the day. Today I am trying, well I think I try every week, but I'm trying to shorten the class so it's not so long. So today I'll try my best to make it not as long so that we can be able to go along with our day. Okay, so today I want to start today's chant. We're going to be doing a different chant this morning. Okay, so this chant is a little bit longer, and I wanted to bring this one out because today we're going to be talking about gurus, of course, okay? So today's class, I'm going to be asking you guys this question. Why are our gurus men? Okay? Now, before you take offense to this question, go through the class with me, go down a rabbit hole with me, and you'll see why I'm asking this question and also what the answer is, okay? So we're going to be talking about who our gurus should be and how to choose them. And I have to ask this question because I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but when we look at our teachers, our scholars, our spiritual leaders, there's one thing that's constant is that they are male. And you have to ask yourself, well, why that is. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you were here last week and you know that we spoke about the Holy Trinity and having the three minds. It's like, well, why is it that, you know, all of our gurus are men? Why isn't it equal? Why isn't there the same amount of, you know, spiritual guides that are equally men and equally women? Why is it a male dominant industry for the spirituals in the spiritual sense? That's really weird. Like there's a lot of male dominant industries, but now the spiritual realm is dominated by the male as well. So it's kind of like, well, why is that? You know what I'm saying? And then when we look at that, what do we see when we see, you know, men being in charge of our spiritual enlightenment? Like, what is the outcome of this? With it being male dominated. Okay? So we see, it's not, and I'm not saying that men can't teach. Yes, you can, very smart. But some of the things that we watch is abuse. Some of the things that we see is manipulation. Some of the things that we see is scamming, you know, under the guise of trying to help our people. A lot of our big hitters are the ones out here scamming us as a community. Some of the things that we see is, you know, obviously the ego taking over to the point where now they must be the God, like the God, right? So now we have to ask the question, like, well, why, how did we get to this point? And is there a reason why we see all the negativity happening? Is it because we basically put our spiritual advancement in the hands of the male? That's basically what we have to ask ourselves. Quickly, everyone should know this, okay? So guru is basically your teacher. That is your spiritual guide. That is someone that you entrust to help you in your spiritual advancement. And a lot of times what happens is because they see the manipulation and the negative tactics that people are utilizing with this title, with the title of guru. That's why a lot of times what they'll say is, you know what, a spiritual journey, your spiritual path is individual. You don't need a teacher. All you need to do is focus on yourself or rely on yourself, and you will find the knowledge that you need. Just, you don't need to follow anyone. So that's a lot of what people are saying as a result of the things that they have seen. Now, we're gonna have to go through whether that's the best option, okay? So who is your guru? Is your spiritual guide. They are literally there to help enlighten you, okay? The one who brings you from darkness to light. That's who a guru is, right? So why is the exclamation of ecstasy and celebration of the greatness. So a lot of times, if you remember Namo inside of the chants that we do, the mantras, Namo means salutation. So this works in that sort of way. It's basically the same thing. So salutations, salutations. So if you see these things, a lot of times you are giving reverence, okay? Okay, so Ram Das literally means God's servant, okay? You can basically sum together and put it together that the entire chant or mantra basically is you giving reverence to your spiritual guide, from guiding you from darkness to light, okay? And you are acknowledging that that is who the guru is. Guru is the God's servant. Okay, so, and you give reverence to God's servant because they are doing the Lord's work, okay? So that's basically what this is. The mantra is comprised of two parts, okay? So the first part is Nirgun mantra, which is Guru Guru Wahe Guru, which projects the mind to the source of knowledge and ecstasy, right? So the second part is Sargun mantra. Okay, so that's Guru Ram Das Guru. And that means the wisdom that comes as a servant of the infinite. Okay? It is a mantra of humility and miracles that reconnects the experience of the finite to infinity. Okay, so you're acknowledging that through humility you gain the wisdom of the divine. Okay? And I wanted to bring this out because that's something really, really important that I feel our gurus don't exercise. They don't exercise their humility. They're driven by ego. So once you become driven by ego, you can't teach spirituality because now your judgment and your perceptions are clouded with your personal desires. Okay? And that's what we see today in our teachers. You know what I'm saying? And if you go on my page, you'll actually see this mantra is actually sung by one of our own. So there's, of course, if you go on YouTube, you can find this mantra if you just type in Guru Guru Wahe Guru, right? You can type it in and you'll find a bunch of versions of people chanting. But the one specific that I want to share with you guys is by the goddess named Deja Gomez. So that if you want to purchase, I believe it's on iTunes and a lot of different streaming services. So again, if you want to chant and get the frequency from a goddess of our own, that's who I suggest. It sounds so beautiful. create your Yoni Mudra with your hands. And we can begin. Of course, whenever it comes to chanting, it's always best to chant 108 times. I'm sure you've come across this and you know. But, you know, just for the sake of time and the sake of class, I do not do that. Okay? So go ahead and create your Yoni Mudra. Remember, this helps you go inside, be internal, escape the everyday struggles of life. And this is how you should begin your day. So I wanted to do class in the beginning, and we can start, okay? So you can join me. And usually I do the chants where it's a repeat after me, like a call response style. This style is more so we chant together, okay? Because it's not that much. Okay, so Guru, Guru, Wahe, Guru, Guru, Ram Das, Guru, 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 Wahe, Guru, Guru, Ram Das, Guru. Okay, guys, so just to give you a little bit of how it sounds, you can go ahead and practice on your own. And what I'll do is, of course, if you're in my group chat, I will post the link to the YouTube video so you can sing along with her throughout the week. I didn't write it in. So today's element of self-mastery, we are going to be utilizing or going into exegetical theology. Right? Exegetical theology. And if you know what that is, if you've been here during my intro, you know that this means we're going to be doing some reading today. This means we're going to be interpreting some scripture. Okay? That's what this means. Sacred text is the 108 Upanishads. Now, I believe I mentioned this to you guys when I broke down the sacred texts of the Hindu tradition. So it starts with the Vedas, the Four Vedas, and then after the Vedas, which is basically what we would consider the Bible or the Quran, is broken up into 4 parts. Right after that, you have the Upanishads and then the Puranas. Okay, so the Puranas is basically the end. That's where you get your mythological stories, your biblical stories, right? The Upanishads is right in between those, and it's actually more or expanded scripture. Expanded scripture. Basically, that's what a lot of sages, a lot of monks, as you would call, but sages meaning people who dedicated their life to meditation, and what they get from the Vedas is the expanded knowledge from interpreting the Vedas. Okay, so that's what we will be dealing with, and there is 108. So I'm going to be diving into two of them. So I'm going to be going over a few scriptures. I'm going to write it down for you so we can kind of break down what it is. Right now we're answering who should be our guru, okay? Who should be our guru? And it's actually answered in scripture, okay? So in scripture we have the Bhavana Upanishad, okay? So we're going to be dealing with the first verse. Okay, so the first verse says, the holy teacher is the power Pada Shakti, that is the cause of all, okay? Now, it's telling you who the holy teacher is. It's the power of Pada Shakti. Pada Shakti means, Pada means supreme, right? Shakti, if you know what Shakti is the cosmic force of creation, right? The cosmic force of creation, or Shakti in itself, if you read Shakti itself, could be the mother goddess. So it can either be the mother goddess or as in a manifested form, but in the unmanifested form is just the supreme, the energy that is everywhere, basically the energy that's everywhere and nowhere at the same time, okay? So the energy of creation, okay? So it's basically telling you that you should learn from the supreme source of all that there is, okay? That is the cause of all. The power that's the cause of everything. Why we're all here, okay? The next scripture, it says, of that power, the body with its 9 orifices is the form. So it's telling you who it is, okay? Okay? So the 9 orifices, right? That is orifice meaning holes, right? So that means both nostrils, both eyes, both ears, your mouth, and the 2 entrance and exit areas of your reproduction, right? So you have the front part and the back part. Enter, exit. Okay? Or exit, exit. Thinking of men, right? So that's what that is. And a lot of times, what they look at this as, there's a parable that says the 9 orifices of the body is basically like unto 9 gates to a city, okay? 9 gates to a city. So even with this one sentence, it's basically telling you that you need to be careful what enters and what exits your city. Like your body is your city, and all of the holes is important, what goes in and what goes out. So they're basically talking about the divine diet. So the divine diet is not just what you eat. That just has to do with that one gate. That's just the one gate, your mouth, right? But what about your eyes? What is it that you are seeing? Okay? What is it that you're seeing? What is it that you're hearing? What are you listening to? What music are you listening to? What people are you listening to? Right? Who are you talking to? What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So it has a lot to do also with what you're smelling. We already know a lot of things that we take in makes us sick, but we're sick because of everything, not just because of the food that we eat. So it's the entire environment that makes us sick. Okay, so certain scents are just microscopic germs. That's why you got to be careful in public bathrooms. Fecal matter is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And you can smell it because it's there. But you have to be careful with your surroundings. That's why a lot of times when it comes to healing the body naturally, you have to change your entire environment. You cannot be in the same environment and think you're going to heal yourself. You're in the place where you got sick. So that doesn't even make sense. So that's what this is talking about. Okay? The next one is scripture 3. Okay? So this one is basically telling you that the ultimate teacher, the holy teacher, is the creative power of all that there is, right? The creative feminine power, because we already know the universe is feminine in essence. Okay, and then this is basically letting you know that from that power is going to be in a manifestation in a body, an incarnation into an avatar, 3D avatar. So it's letting you know it's going to be in a body with 9 orifices, okay? So that's the next one. And I'm going to be moving pretty quickly. So I hope you guys are writing things down as I go over them. Okay. Okay, scripture 3. It's basically reiterating what scripture 2 is saying. Okay, so it is the holy wheel in the guise of the 9 wheels. Okay, so when they're talking about wheels, what they're talking about is the energetic wheels that we have within our body. So they're talking about the chakras, right? And understanding this, the power of all creation is divided into our chakras, into our body. Okay, so this is a as above so below type of situation. Okay, so we know that the source of all things is divided, right? And I know we know 7 chakras, but they're talking about the 9 main ones. Okay, so other than the chakras that we know, root, the sacral, solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, the crown. There are other chakras. We all understand that there are probably, I can't even remember, over 100 chakras. Over 100 chakras that proceed to be above our head that connect us with the divine, right? But the ones that they're talking about, which is supposed to be 9 main ones, not 7 main ones, okay? So the reason why a lot of times people cannot reach complete enlightenment is because they skip the chakra that's by the thymus gland. The chakra that's by the thymus gland is acting as like a switch in a railroad. You know how you flip the switch and the track moves to where now the train is going a separate direction? That's basically what you're supposed to activate so that your energy can transfer from your what is it called? From your throat chakra to your third eye, okay? So there's a space in which it's hard to get from here to here. And in between those spaces, that's where people are able to finally be able to actually align themselves, utilizing their energy. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that you learn, especially during semen retention. And again, I will do a video on that and we'll go over that. because I feel that that's needed. But that's something that you have to actually dedicate a lot of time and effort into doing. Like, yes, we can activate our 7 chakras, but that's kind of on the shallow end of things. If you want to go deeper, then you would have to start activating other chakras that's in between. Okay, and then on top of that, the other chakra that is missing is called the seat of the soul. So it's gold. It's actually up here. It's basically above your crown. Okay, and that's where the soul sits, and that's where you are basically connecting with source. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that out, and I can do a video deeper into the chakras, most definitely. There's plenty more. There's also a Gaia gateway that's below your feet. There's so much, and even your hands work as an energy center. That's why we do mudras, right? So there's a lot to go into. So I just wanted to let you know why they say 9 instead of 7, in case you were wondering. Okay, I'm skipping to the 10th verse. It says, knowledge is the material of worship. And you can see this. Honestly, when it comes to someone exhibiting intellectually, it's most definitely grabbing, right? It's grabbing. It's something that will definitely cause you to worship someone. And that's why we see these gurus taking advantage of that, understanding that knowledge is the material of worship. So they tend to spit knowledge and they keep pushing it out, because the more they push it out, the more it gives reason for people to be engaged. That's why a lot of times some gurus, they won't even tell you everything that you need to know to actually help you, because they want to ensure that you are dependent on them. Okay, so let's keep it. We got to keep our eyes open. Okay. Okay, so the object of knowledge is to offer. So when you have knowledge, you're supposed to offer that. Okay, so the knower is the sacrificer. That's what it's talking about. So when you do have knowledge, you're actually supposed to teach or share what it is that you know. Okay, so this is the end of the same verse 10. I'm just writing it up here so you can see. Okay, so the meditation on the identity of 3, knowledge, its object, the knower, is the worship rendered to the holy wheel. Okay? So this is basically explaining that, if you remember the paths to enlightenment, one of the yogic paths is Jnana Yoga, okay? If I pronounce it right. Let me see. That is the path of knowledge, right? So it's talking about the meditation on the identity of the 3. So knowledge, its object, and the knower is the worship rendered to the holy wheel. So again, the holy wheel is the source of our creation, which is the energetic center of all things, right? So once you are meditating on the knowledge, what the knowledge is about, that's what the object is, what the knowledge is about, and the knower, meaning the guru, the person expanding the knowledge to you. When you meditate on all three of these, that is the worship of the ultimate creative force. Okay, that's basically what this is saying. Go ahead and write this down. Okay, so it says the meditation on the identity of three, knowledge, its object, the knower, is the worship rendered to the holy wheel. Okay, so the next one we're going to be going into is the Sita Upanishad. So we're going into another one because it's basically corroborating with what the Bhavana Upanishad is saying. Okay, so this is verse 11 in the Sita Upanishad, verse 11, okay? Also letting you know who the divine being is. So again, this is telling you who your guru should be, right? So it says that divine being is threefold through her power, okay? Namely, the power of desire, the power of action, and the power of knowledge, okay? So what we spoke about, this just confirms what we spoke about last week about the true Holy Trinity. So if you have not seen that video, it is up on my YouTube. So go ahead to refresh yourselves about what the Holy Trinity is, okay? So it says that divine being, which is the guru, that you should be getting your knowledge from, is threefold in her power, okay? So notice it says her and not he. That's one thing to notice. And then it next says, it names the threefold powers, okay? So if you feel that a person does not have the three minds or the three powers, then that's not someone who you should be learning from, okay? So it says namely the power of desire, the power of action, and the power of knowledge, okay? So the power of desire, the heart, the power of action, the mind, okay? The mind is the reason why you're able to move and do things. And the power of knowledge, that is the womb. That is the womb, okay? We get our knowledge from our womb. Okay, so if you see anyone who does not possess these qualities, then they're not suitable to be a guru of anyone, because they're going to be able to, they're going to hit a cap, as I would like to call it. Like the roof of their potential has a limit, okay? Because they don't have all three of the powers, okay? So if they don't have it, then they shouldn't be the guru, okay? So the next one that I want to talk to you about, and actually after this is just the verses that I want to bring out today, but right now what I'm going to go into is I'm going to just share with you a book, okay? So I'm going to share with you a book, okay? So the book I'm going to share with you is called Sexual Alchemy. Okay, so this book that I'm going to be sharing with you, now you can get this book, you can buy it or not, Again, if you're in my group chat, I share the screenshots of whatever I read in class. So this book is by if I remember correctly, I didn't write it down. I believe it's by Donald Tyson. Yes, Donald Tyson. So that's the book I'm going to be reading an excerpt from. Not a full chapter, but just an excerpt, because there is a small section that talks about the cult of the Gnostics. And if you know what Gnosis means, that's where the word comes from. Gnosis just means spiritual knowledge, or just knowledge of the mysteries, occult knowledge, basically. So the cult of the Gnostics, okay? That's what we're going to be reading. And also, when you are watching the playback of this, I will be adding these screenshots into it as well. I'm saying it so I can remind myself as I go through to edit, to add the screenshot so that you're able to see the words on the screen. And of course, you already know I like to share books with you. So it's called, so this is in chapter 2. Chapter 2, page, yes. All right, so okay, I'm gonna read to you guys. So this segment of chapter 2, because it's broken up into segments, is called The Goddess Among the Gnostics, okay? It says, the matronate and the Shekinah echo the two forms of the goddess that occur within the cult of Gnosticism. This will not come as a surprise when we consider the found influence Gnostic doctrines, okay, particularly those of the Jewish Gnostics, had on the doctrines of the Kabbalah, okay? The Gnostics recognized Shakti as the supreme mother goddess of heaven, whose children are the stars. In this role, she was called Barbelo, or Virgin, by the Barbelo Gnostics. Barbelo is similar in many respects to the matronate. The Gnostics also recognized a form of the goddess that voluntarily descended to earth, where she was trapped in the forgetfulness of matter. Okay, so remember the verse in the Bhavana Upanishad said that you will receive your wisdom through the manifested form of someone who embodies the ultimate creative force. Okay? So, this second form of the goddess is more youthful and sexually active, and was characterized as either a maiden or a whore. Descending as an innocent virgin, she was forced into prostitution by the archons. She was called by various names, among them Helena by the Simonian Gnostics and the Light Maiden, but most commonly appears under the name Sophia, which means wisdom. Sophia is very much like the Kabbalistic concept of the Shekinah, okay? It should be noted that the symbolism of the serpent played an important part in Gnostic myths and worship, particularly in either earlier cults such as that of the Ophites. In Gnosticism, it is the serpent who frees mankind from the tyranny of the chief archon, Yaldabaoth. Okay? In Gnostic doctrine, Yaldabaoth is paradoxically both Satan, or Samuel, and Jehovah, or Yahweh. Okay? Of the Old Testament. The serpent gives Adam and Eve the gift of Gnosis, or wisdom, which awakens them to their true divine state and liberates them from their bondage in Eden. So I'm not sure if you heard it that way before, but the truth of the matter is that while Eden itself is a paradise, you can be in bondage in paradise. Okay, where have we seen that before? It's because once you are under the tyrannic rule of someone who wants to keep you dumb, to free yourself, it would take wisdom. And again, the serpent coming to give them wisdom is symbolic of their kundalini energy rising and hitting your third eye, giving you enlightenment. That's basically what that is, okay? Reaching the fruit, okay? So when you are reading the Bible, of course, you have to read it metaphorically and kind of understand its metaphysical symbols, right? So it says, in the Gnostic text, the Apocryphon of John, the serpent in the garden, who in this text is replaced by the form of an eagle, is Sophia herself, okay? So basically, Sophia is understanding, if you are aware of the Kemetic pantheon, you understand that every god or goddess is basically a conceptualized manifestation of a natural power. So it's the same here. So when people are talking about wisdom and they call wisdom Sophia, wisdom and Sophia is basically the same thing. So Sophia is representative of the power of wisdom. Okay? So that's why it can manifest in many different ways. It can either be the serpent or an eagle in this particular text. Okay? So it says, thus spiritual gnosis is a gift to humanity from the goddess. In quotations, it says, I appear in the form of an eagle on the tree of knowledge, which is the epinonia or intention from the foreknowledge of the pure light, that I might teach them and awaken them out of the depth of sleep. For they were both in a fallen state and they recognized their nakedness. The epinonia appeared to them as a light and she awakened their thinking. Okay, that is a quote from the Gnostic text. Okay. The serpent appears here as an eagle to indicate that sexual energy has been alchemically transmuted into spiritual energy. Okay? In one myth of the phoenix is reborn from a small worm. The serpent generally symbolizes sexual energy, kundalini, like I said, and also wisdom. The two are linked. In Gnosticism, sexual energy was used deliberately to produce spiritual transcendence. Okay? So the Gnostics regarded marriage and procreation as evil, or at least as activities useless, valueless to their own spiritual evolution, because they looked upon the physical body as a prison. Okay? So that's one of the ways that they suppress your enlightenment, by teaching you to restrain or abstain from sexual activities. Okay? They did not wish to trap more souls in cells of flesh. As a result, Gnostic sects tended to split into two types. Okay, those that advocated strict celibacy and those that freely employed prostitutes in a ritualistic way. Okay, so when you are thinking of, not sure if you're aware, but if you're thinking of old cults back in the day, which cult in itself just means an organized group in which people all agree on a specific set of ideology. That's what a cult is. So take away any negative connotation you may have with that. Okay, so if you understand what church is again a gathering or a congregation of people coming together to what you call focus on the divine, right? So the old churches used to be what people call prostitution houses, because their way of reaching the divine would be through ritualistic sex. Okay, so just so you know, so that's why they call holy whore. You gotta stay out the Bible sometimes because they crack me up. Yes. And those that freely employed prostitutes in a ritualistic way. So yes, there was ceremonies in which a lot of men would go to engage in sexual acts with women so that they can reach enlightenment, okay? Okay, where is I? Okay, this is an inevitable outcome of redirecting sexual energy away from the propagation of the species to the generation of magical powers and spiritual wisdom. The physical side of sex must either be completely suppressed and turned inward, or deliberately channeled and controlled in such a way that no offspring result and the energy of orgasm can be put to other uses. Okay? Catholic priests chose the first path, tantric yogis the second. Okay, and Gnostics split over the question. Some sects avoiding physical sex while others used it deliberately to advance their spiritual evolution. Okay, so when it comes to Jainism, obviously it's more of the tantric yogi path. Okay, so yes, you will be engaging, but we must learn how to engage, so we're not just aimlessly bumping and grinding, like obviously. But I read that to basically give you guys an understanding of who your guru should be. Okay, who your guru should be, and there are three powers. They must have the three minds. They must encompass the Holy Trinity, right? And also a lot of the ways in which you can become enlightened would be engaging in the ritual of mating. Let's use a better word. Okay? The coming together, activating your Kundalini energy, because that in itself is wisdom. Because that in itself is, again, divided piece of all source energy. That's the one time in this particular life where you feel the source energy rushing through you. We have to be able to understand how to utilize that and not just expel it aimlessly whenever we just want to feel it. You know what I'm saying? We have to be able to utilize it and have it raise and touch our pineal, okay, our third eye. Okay? So that's what that is. Now, obviously, if you have critical thinking skills and common sense, you can conclude that any guru should be female manifestation. If you didn't get it from the scripture, which they broke down all the pieces as to why that would lead to it being a female. And also in this book where it talks about the ancient cults before, again, this is before Christianity became mainstream and what we know as Christianity today. Okay, this is the cult of the Gnostics. This is before westernized and what people have done to it. Okay, before the Catholics have taken it and changed it and it's spread all over the world. Okay, there's a lot of ancient practices that I like to bring up and just let you guys know, because that's what we're about. We're about going back in time to evolve, because we have devolved. Okay, we have devolved. So again, when you see a lot of our young boys looking to other men as gurus, there's only but so much knowledge you can get from them. And again, I'm not saying that men can't teach. Of course you can, but there's certain things you just can't do. Now, again, you need that balance of the Kundalini energy. You need that as well. That's a part of your spiritual journey. I don't know if people know this, but yes, it is a part of your spiritual journey for you to mate, okay, make love. This is actually a spiritual practice that people don't even realize. It's a spiritual practice to do that. Okay, and if you have the right goddess, one who is activated in all three of her minds, then you will be able to learn that with her, okay? And you can actually experience something super phenomenal without just, it just being, your base pleasures, okay? So I wanted to bring that out. But that's also the end of today's class. I did say that I would try and make today's class a little bit shorter. So yes, this is just in correlation to last week's class. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and go watch that. And that is all for today. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them now. Go ahead and ask your questions now, and I will answer them. It's called I forgot to write it down, so once it's not written down, I forget. Okay, it's called androgen insensitivity syndrome. Okay, you can look this up. Okay, the reason why I'm bringing this out because I want to further prove to you guys that the guru is supposed to be female. The reason why I say this is because of androgen insensitivity syndrome. Now, this is a condition in which the doctors, our modern medical professionals, they will consider this a condition in which where it's something wrong with you, okay? This is actually where, I think we all know that when you are conceived, every baby is a female. Before they get a certain set of hormones, and then they express as male. So of course, you start out as an XX chromosome, and then you go into being XY chromosome, right? But androgen insensitivity syndrome is someone who has XY chromosomes, but they have all of the physicalities of an XX chromosome, chromosomal person. And what that means is that that baby in the womb is insensitive to testosterone, which is androgens. Okay, they're insensitive to it, so it didn't take. So that means they will be born still a girl, even though they are chromosomally a boy, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's actually a woman who, if you need to see this, because I did say that if there was never any mutation, all of life would be female, and I stand by that. And I want to be able to show you guys proof as much as I can. So not just going through scriptures, not just reading it, not just giving you theory, but also giving you hard evidence, okay? So I'll end up sharing this video, but there's a woman who actually has this, and she has XY chromosomes. So she was always wondering why she never got a period. And it's because she does not have a uterus and she does not have ovaries, which that's exactly what men are. They don't have a uterus and they don't have ovaries. And they have XY chromosomes. So she's genetically a man, but she's still a woman. So that's what would happen if again, basically everyone else is sensitive to androgens, while some of us are not sensitive to androgens, right? So when you're not sensitive to androgens, you just will come out, you will still be chromosomally a man, but you're still a woman, just not with a uterus and ovaries. Okay?
Hi, so it is very much possible. I was diagnosed with a condition called androgen insensitivity syndrome. So I have XY6 chromosomes, but which you would typically find in males, but I'm very much female because on my X6 chromosome, there is a mutation on the androgen receptor gene. So the protein that's supposed to detect the testosterone that my body was secreting did not work. So I was insensitive to the testosterone. So then my body developed into female, except I don't have ovaries and a uterus. And how I found out was I had not gotten my period, so I basically waited all my life for something that wasn't coming. I'm sorry, you have to laugh about these things. So at the age of 21, when my period was like, I had not gotten my period at the age of 21, I went to the doctor, my gynecologist, to find out exactly what's happening. And yeah, he said he doesn't see ovaries or a uterus. So then we initially thought it was Müllerian agenesis, which is a condition where someone doesn't have a fully developed reproductive system like the ovaries and uterus. But then he gave me a hormonal test and my testosterone was quite high. So then after that, he did a karyotype, which is basically just a genetic test to see which, like a full test on your chromosome count. And then we found out I have 46 XY chromosomes, which is typically a male karyotype, except I'm very much female. Yeah, and I don't know what else to say. So, but yeah, that's it. I mean, it used to make me very, like, when I found out 10 years ago, I'm 31 now. When I was 21, it felt like my whole life like was imploding. But 10 years later, I'm much better for it. I think it's pretty cool. I'm sorry, but I can't relate on periods and stuff, which I honestly don't mind. So yeah, the implications is I can't carry kids. I can't have like biological kids of my own because I don't have ovaries or uterus, which I honestly don't mind at all. So yeah, so that's the gist of, I think it's pretty cool though.
So I just wanted to let you know that that's why it is. It's not that I'm saying, you know, I'm not saying like men are less in any particular way, but I'm saying that the ultimate manifestation of human beings are female. And if there was no mutations, everyone would be female. So it would only make sense that your guru or the person that you entrust to help elevate your consciousness would be the ultimate manifestation of the human being, because they are complete, because they have more genetic material, because they are the optimal archetype of humanity. Right? I think so. Okay. That's what I wanted to bring out. But yes, I'm going to add that in, just so you guys know I'm not lying. But I'm going to add that in the edited version of this. So once I put this up on YouTube, you'll see, I'll add her video so you can see that she is a woman. And just because you don't have a uterus does not make you not a woman. And just because you do not have XX chromosomes doesn't mean you're not a woman either. Okay? So that goes back into what I was talking about before, about there really being only one sex. So when I say there's only one gender, this is what I'm talking about. There's really only one gender, just different mutations of the same organism. That's it. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay, that's it. Bye. But thanks so much for coming, guys. And I hope that I can see you guys next week for our class next week. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks so much for coming. Much love, and remember to always worship the Yoni. Okay? Much love and blessings to everyone. Have a great day.